Hey folks, we're live tonight on South Padre Island. We're on the bay side of the island today, where 9 years ago things looked a lot different here. It was 9 years ago yesterday that Hurricane Dolly made landfall. And the interesting thing about Hurricane Dolly, one of the many interesting things is, of course, it went right up the coast just offshore and then turned inland a little bit north of here. The fact that it moved in north of here gave us a westerly wind on the bay side. And typically we watch for a storm surge coming from the Gulf, but this time, because the wind was from the west, it pushed the bay up and over the bay side of South Padre Island. And there are reports of some places on Laguna Boulevard, that's the road closest to the bay, the water was 4 feet deep. And in many places along here, some boats got lifted out of the water and set down on land. And of course, all these bayfront bars and restaurants were impacted by that storm. 9 years ago yesterday is when it made landfall, and of course 9 years ago today we were just beginning to see how much impact it had on the valley, and it was obviously pretty significant. Let's take a look at the winds with Dolly, and this is what the winds were doing when Dolly came in. If you take a look at it, you're going to see that right here along the coast, winds are about 90 to 100 miles per hour, and because we're right on the coast, obviously the storm was actually a Category 2 at one time, sitting just offshore, so the winds were even strongest right here, even Category 2 force for a little while, but then they weakened a bit after that, and we ended up with weakening winds as it moved across the valley. But you may recall it was the relentlessness of Dolly. You had 60 mile, 70 mile per hour winds for 8, 10, 12 hours in some places across the valley. So that was Dolly 9 years ago yesterday and today when it made landfall right here in deep South Texas. Pretty significant storm. Hey, let's take a look at our temperatures today across the valley. Of course, we're cooler out here. Temperatures in the 80s at the coast. It's almost comfortable. 97 in McAllen, 101 at this hour in Rio Grande City. Let's watch what we expect to happen the next few days. And models are indicating a little bit of a surge of moisture tomorrow and Wednesday. And what that could do is give us an isolated shower along the sea breeze. Now, there's 6 a.m. tomorrow. You don't see much, but as we go through the day, you see isolated showers popping up, especially during the afternoon. We're not talking widespread, talking sea breeze stuff, but unlike today where there was pretty much almost nothing, there'll be a little bit of activity around tomorrow. You go forward to Wednesday and you see kind of the same story. There's still some moisture around, still could be an isolated shower, even a thunder shower on Wednesday again. But then after that, I think we start the drying process one more time. So it's a pretty short chance of rain, and it's not a very good chance of rain, but I think there will be showers around. It's just a question of how many folks actually get impacted by those showers. High temperature wise, the normal for this time of year is 96. That's again a valley average of 96. The next 3 days are 98, 98, 99. So not records, but certainly a little bit above average for this time of year the next few days. Let's go ahead and take a look at the North American model. We call it the NAM for short, and it still shows that ridge, that high that's centered right now over the Texas Panhandle. But the bottom line for us is the flow continues to be out of the northeast across deep South Texas in the upper atmosphere. And for the most part, that's a dry flow. But a little bit of tropical moisture gets caught up in that the next couple of days. And as you feed that tropical moisture into the region, then you add that chance for a shower or two. It's not widespread, it's isolated stuff, but at least isolated showers will cool the day briefly for a few folks across the valley, but it's not just an all-out rain event. Keep going forward into Wednesday, you still have that moisture feed coming in. By Thursday, I think that moisture feed begins to trail off a little bit, and our chance of rain begins to fade away again, and by Friday and the weekend, looks like we're mainly dry once again. I say mainly dry because this is one of those atmospheres where any day, one location could pick up that isolated sea breeze shower, but most areas across the valley stay rain free. Again, our best chance at about 20% or so the next couple of days, and that's probably about it after that. If you're headed our direction, coming out to the beach, and why not, right? In the morning, temperatures start in the upper 80s, southeasterly winds about 16, UV index is extreme, the rip current risk is moderate, surf temperature right now is 84 degrees. It hasn't changed. It got to 84 in a hurry, but it's kind of leveled off there. Tomorrow afternoon, temperatures in the upper 80s, and it stays there most of the day. Might hit 90 briefly here at the coast, but for the most part, temperatures are staying in the 80s day and night here at South Padre Island. Here are the tides. High tide 7:15 in the morning, the low tide 11:24 tomorrow night. Seas 2 to 4 feet with a moderate chop. And the bay temperature checks in right now at 85 degrees. So for tonight, here's what we have for you. Mainly clear, warm and humid. A low tonight of around 79 degrees. Winds light out of the south-southeast. Winds will diminish. And then tomorrow, partly sunny skies with about a 20% chance of a shower. Most areas stay rain-free, but maybe you'll be one of the lucky ones to pick up that shower. Go ahead and wash your car, and that'll guarantee it, right? That's the way that seems to work. 7-day forecast then. We keep temperatures in the 90s through Thursday, but then again, as we mentioned, I think things dry out again as we get toward the weekend. weekend, and when we dry out, we're likely to warm up again. Not that we're not warm today, but likely to get back over 100 as an average across much of the valley by the time we get to the weekend. So sunshine will return in earnest. But the next 2 or 3 days, at least a slight chance for a shower or two. One of those things where if you're on the island, you'll look inland and you'll see the showers building. Maybe not so much here, but inland you'll see them. And if you're inland, you'll see scattered stuff, but not everybody gets rained on. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll talk more about Hurricane Dolly a little bit later in the newscast. Live on South Padre Island, Tim Smith, Channel 5 News at 6.